And I guess I'm just going to introduce myself. And, you know, I just hate staying in one place, so I might try without the mic. And will you raise your hand if I'm starting to get too faint? Okay, in the back, am I okay? Okay, great. I will project my voice. So my name is Nancy Brooke, and where I want to start my journey, can you dim the light for me, please? Where I want to start my journey, this is about 1982, and here I am with my 1982 version hair. Oh, a little moody. I grew up in Laurel, Montana, and yes, go locomotives. We were called dieselettes back then. The dieselettes. I played basketball and I threw a javelin, and we were the dieselettes. We weren't the lady locos. We were the dieselettes back then. I don't know when they changed. So this is me back in the 80s, and there were a few things that I was super passionate about back then. And the first one was riding my bicycle. I had a Peugeot bicycle. It was a 12-speed. It was my brother's hand-me-down bicycle, and I loved riding it. And I would ride from Laurel to Billings. I actually worked at the Petroleum Club and would, you know, waitress there at lunchtime. And then I'd come home and work at Little Big Men at night and play softball in between. I think I had a little more energy back then. But that was one of my passions. Second thing I was passionate about, just dramatically passionate about, was art. I loved painting and drawing and just doing anything creative. I did some pottery, I did stained glass, I did everything I could. And so when I was in high school, actually I was majoring in two things, which is kind of embarrassing because right now I'm a vice president at a bank. That's what I do. I have a business degree. And back then I was taking secretarial classes and art classes in high school. And I just was doing whatever made me happy at that point. Well, there was one other thing that I was super passionate about. What do you think that is for a 16-year-old? Boy. Yeah, but even more specifically, I loved romance novels. Who is a fan or used to be a fan of? Yes, okay. Come on, there's more. Come on, yeah. So, you know, who wouldn't want to read? Too good to be true, too passionate to be forgotten. Or how about the perfect mix of passion and pageantry. I'd like to see how this man parades in his pageant. Actually, what a handsome-looking man. Or who could resist the Viking? I always had a strong desire for these Scandinavian men, and now you know why. When a man like that is telling me to come here, that's exactly what I wanted to do. So I would spend my time when I wasn't doing my art or riding my bike, reading these crazy romance novels, and it really got me into the mindset that what I was looking for was maybe not Mr. Viking, but, you know, maybe Prince Charming. So I went on my pursuit, and I thought I found Mr. Prince Charming. He wasn't quite the Viking kind of man, but he was Norwegian, and so, you know, that's pretty close enough. Unfortunately, you know, my marriage didn't quite work out, and he turned into a frog. Anybody been married to? And so really what the thing was, for a few years I was a little bitter, you know, I had a little bit of bitterness after a divorce, who doesn't, right? So then I started going on the dating merry-go-round, and I started dating men and I started getting dumped, one after the other, and I hear such breakup lines like, you know, the easy one, it's not you, it's me. That's pretty straightforward. And then Mr. Number 2 said, I just don't feel the magic. What am I, a magician? I'm your girlfriend, I'm not a magician. And Number 3 told me I'd marry, but he never asked. Who would think? You have to ask. So I was on this dating merry-go-round, going in circles and really getting nowhere. And it was Mr. Number 7. The 7th breakup in 7 years. And he broke up with me with this line. You bug me. bug me. I have to tell you this is the funniest story. So this man, actually, he lives here in Billings. He's not in the audience. After my second presentation in October, a woman came up to me who I know vaguely just from working out, and she came up to me and said, I have to tell you, we were laughing so hard in the back of the room because he said the same thing to me. I thought that explains it. It's not me, it's you. So Mr. Wonderful, you bug me. I'm going to read just a little bit about that scenario, and this happened back in 2008, not 1998. She's turning on the lights because, you know, with these old eyes, sometimes it's difficult. Okay, so here's what happened. We were actually walking along at Riverfront Park with our dogs. And have you ever had that experience where you're dating somebody and you're kind of feeling like something's not right? What happened with this situation is we got in our cars and he gave me a kiss on the cheek. And so here's how the scene unfolds. I said, why don't you want to kiss me anymore? He kissed me again, more passionately this time. 2 days later, he called to tell me we were through. Oh, yeah, nice guy. You're a wonderful person. They all start out that way, don't they? He paused. But the thing is, you bug me. I bug you? I walked from my bedroom down the hall to my kitchen. Yeah, you bug me. I don't know what it is, but I just can't see myself being with you. Okay, I'm not a size 2. Maybe that's what it was, right? How do I bug you? There must be reasons, you just aren't telling me. My voice had a bit of an edge now. I stopped pacing and stood by the kitchen counter, my left hand grabbing the formica to steady myself. I don't know what they are, he said. What do you mean? My voice increased its intensity, and my fingers turned white as I squeezed the counter edge. He lowered his tone. Nancy, I don't know what to say. We were happy. We had plans. We talked about a future. What happened? I told you, there are just some things that bug me. Nice guy, huh? He's Mr. Rat, too. Like what? There had to be a way to make this work. I walked back to my bedroom and slumped down on my bed. I don't want to go over this again, he told me. I didn't know what to say. I inhaled deeply and counted my breaths so I wouldn't cry. After 5 deep breaths, he spoke. It's getting late. I need to go. Okay, I didn't write this, but he actually had to go order internet products. Okay, that was kind of a cruel thing. I'm too busy to dump you properly. I need to go order my Hammer nutrition products. That's what it is. That's the backstory. After I hung up, I didn't want to be alone, so I called Kathleen, my former sister-in-law. I often joke that I maintained custody of my daughter and Kathleen after my divorce. She was more than a relative. She was one of my best friends. Part hippie chick, part dear Abby, Kathleen listened to my problems with ease and grace. I don't know how she could dispense such good advice considering the challenges in her own life. She was chronically underemployed, hadn't dated in years, and always had something breaking down. Her car, her refrigerator, or maybe her furnace. But no matter what the situation, she always had time to listen to my dating woes, and there were many of them, let me tell you. And now I told her the details about my breakup with Jeff. Cry for a week, she advised. I started right away. I put down the phone, rolled over to clutch my pillow, and sobbed myself to sleep. After a restless night, Zimmer's nose, that's my dog, nuzzled me awake at 5. Get up, let's walk. Though tired, as I stretched my arms to wake myself, I realized that I felt better, a lot better. The heartache from the night before had passed like a storm cloud moving east toward the wide open Montana prairie. I got up and dressed for a cold winter morning, bundling up in my ratty down jacket, fleece hat, and padded clubs. I leashed my dogs, put on my headlamp, and descended into the dark. my thoughts turned to Jeff. This breakup marked the 7th bankrupt relationship in 7 years. I was weary of the dating merry-go-round, going in circles and getting nowhere, and finally falling off my plastic pony. If I wasn't cycling through men all the time, that would leave room in my life for something else. The thought of something else should loose a string of questions. If I don't have a future with Jeff or anyone, what do I want to do with my life? I need to shake things up, but how? Should I move? Change my career? What do I want anyway? I had no answers. Then another question formed, seemingly from outside of me. What would make you happy, Nancy? I smiled as I realized my answer. I want to go to France. So this talk is a talk about passion. And my passion happened to be going to France, and it was a dream I had for many years before. I had wanted to go to France since my college years. It's kind of moving there, passionately. And I decided I wanted to go to France, drink wine, and ride my bike. I'd also taken up cycling in my 40s to enjoy something I had enjoyed in my youth. Well, it took me a while to make this decision. How many of you have a passion that you maybe have thought of pursuing? Maybe you haven't? Okay.
We're on the other end. We've already completed learning, we're looking for something.
You're looking for something, absolutely. And sometimes that is the big thing. What are we looking for that can make us happy? And I will tell you that I really questioned whether it made any sense to go to France. Okay, going to France, I'm going to go ride my bike, drink wine, stay in these villages. It's kind of senseless when I have a fence that needs to be replaced, I have a kitchen floor that needed to be fixed. All of these things that we put off. Why do we put them off? Because we do it out of obligation. And we do it out of expectations that we feel others have. And the whole idea of letting go of the expectations and pursuing a passion was a new thing for me at age 43 at the time. And I would just ask you, what's your passion in life? What is it that makes your heart sing? And ask yourself that question. What would make you happy? So what would make you happy? What is your France? Your France may not be going to France. It may not be cycling over 700 miles, getting a chafed bottom and all those fun things, drinking wine. Your France might be doing something like taking up singing. It might be doing something like square dancing, or just taking up chess, something that you've always wanted to pursue. Well, what I discovered when I went to France, and I think these lessons apply to all of our passions, is really the key for me was the beauty that I saw around me. France is a beautiful country, and the beauty of the place truly renewed my soul. Looking at the peaceful water of the Dordogne River, contemplating my life back in Montana, and thinking about how rushed I was. You look at this peaceful river, you think of the Yellowstone and how rapid it is. That's how my life was back here in Montana versus my life as a French traveler. Sometimes just slowing down to appreciate what we're seeing in front of us is really the mark of the beauty. And of course, who can resist taking time to smell the flowers? Now, sunflowers aren't as good smelling as roses, of course, but this is Provence after all. Second part of finding our passions is really the people that we surround ourselves with. And so when you think of the people in your life, who are these people who can support you in what it is that is the passion in you? So these are some of the faces I met in France, which really helped me understand and renew my sense of appreciating people around me. There's a little old lady who I just stopped and asked her if I could take her picture, and she wanted to know why I wanted her picture. And I just said, I'm an American. I want people to Le Mans, to all the world. I want to take pictures. And the bartender in Bordeaux, who wanted to have me stay and drink much more wine than I did, gave me lessons about the language of love and French derives from. And finally, it's our history. It's our history of who we are. And that is something that you can look at when you think about your passions. And I heard somebody say, well, I'm trying to figure out what my passion is. If you look back to those things when you were younger, those things that made your heart sing, what are those things? Maybe it's hula hooping. Maybe it's riding your bike. Maybe it's reading romance novels. I don't know what it is. But the history of the places that I visited helped me reflect on a history of me. And it's a beautiful country, France is. But you know what I discovered? I didn't need to go to France. I really didn't. What I needed is to discover the passion in me. Because really what it comes down to is love. It's love not only for ourselves, but it's love for our lives. And it's appreciating the path we're on right here, right now, and being able to love our journey as we go about our day. And so the passion is much more than the perfect man, finding Prince Charming, or that wonderful Viking guy that we saw in that romance cover novel. Because what I'm looking for is never going to be outside of myself. It's going to come from within. And when you are thinking about passion this Valentine's Day, whether you have a partner or whether you're on your own, realize that the love you seek is the love within yourself by pursuing your passions and fulfilling your dreams. I want to thank you very much for